Have you had creepy experiences, or are you just fascinated by them? Whatever the case may be, we'll share a couple of true stories and testimonies. Grab your plaid and close your shutters, and let's go for a blood-curdling experience. For more than 50 years, a well-known legend has been present in internet forums. The story has been catalogued as a creepypasta, but the truth is that beyond terror, there are those who argue that they felt mystery, disturbance and even fascination. It is about this man, the man of dreams. It all began some time ago, in January 2006, when a psychiatrist in New York City saw one of his patients in his office, as he would any other day. The young woman explained that she had been dreaming about men she didn't even know. He had an incipient bald head, very thick eyebrows, and extremely thin lips, especially the upper ones. While listening to the description, the doctor drew a portrait of the person. He thought nothing of it and left it on the table. However, strangely, and without explanation, the tables were turned when, during his next consultations, two patients completely unrelated to the first claimed to have seen the same man in their dreams. Then, in the midst of doubt and suspicion, the psychiatrist decided to make copies of the drawing and send them to several colleagues. Months later, they noticed an increase in the number of people who had dreamed of this stunned subject and decided to create a website to record all his appearances. To their horror, the experts discovered that the mysterious man had entered the dreams of nearly 2,000 people. Moreover, something else surprised the experts. The patients who had dreamed of the mysterious visitor referred to him as this man. According to the website dedicated to this man, numerous people from all over the world have managed to see him. They come from countries as far away as China, Italy, the United States, Sweden, India, and so on. His apparitions are the strangest. Many patients have seen him in so many different situations. Here are real testimonies. One patient claimed to have seen him dressed as Santa Claus.
Once I saw this man in my dream dressed as Santa Claus. When he appeared, I felt so happy, like when I was a child. Then he smiled at me and his head became a balloon floating in the air above me and his head became a balloon floating in the air above me. I tried to grab him, but there was no way to get to him.
A patient said that at this time of his life, he was having a hard time, and that through his dreams, this man was like helping him to find a way out.
The first time I dreamed about him, I was having a hard time at work. In my dream, I was lost in a huge, deserted shopping mall. Suddenly this man would appear and I would run away from him. He chased me around the mall for an hour until he cornered me against a wall in the toys section of the supermarket. He would smile at me and show me the way out through the cash registers. I woke up on the way out. Since then, this man has appeared in every one of my dreams, showing me how to get out of them and finally wake up.
A third assures that when he dreams of flying, the man flies next to him and never speaks.
Ever since I was a little boy, I had this dream of flying over my town and watching my friends from up there. When I moved to another house, I met this man while flying. Now he appears regularly. Not every time I have this dream, but quite often. He flies too, but he hardly ever speaks.
Another said he fell in love the moment he saw him.
I fell in love with him the first time I saw him in my dream. Although when I think about it, I have to admit that he is really ugly. And yet, every time I see him, he sweeps me off my feet with his romantic gestures and sweet words. He buys me flowers, jewelry, takes me out to dinner or to the beach to watch the sunset.
With these facts, each patient dreams of the same person but in different scenarios, something that cannot be explained. Who is he? Why? this incredible phenomenon has become one of the most controversial mysteries because there is no connection between the people who claim to have been visited by this man in their dreams. His victims say that he appears to them in terrible nightmares. Sometimes he appears only in times of trouble, and other times his visits are reported as a religious experience. In other words, this man seems to appear as God himself in his physical form. The phenomenon has given rise to several conspiracy theories. One of them suggested that the intruder is a real person with the ability to enter dreams, who has the macabre ability to enter people's dreams. Another even claims that it is a hidden government project to control the lives of citizens. The most scientific hypothesis, however, is that this face is part of the collective conscience. Science has also weighted it on the matter, confirming that it is a kind of general paranoia of the people due to coincidences of various kinds. And you, have you ever been introduced in a dream? Leonor was a child like any other, but her life was marked by constant moving, because her mother, fascinated by the restoration of houses, which was her job at the same time, decided to move to another house in the center of Madrid. But unlike usual, the girl had a bad feeling when she stepped on the floor of the place. The house was big but dark, like the haunted mansion in that horror short story she had written for a language class. Also, she remembered at the time. The stairs creaked as you went up and down, and there was always a feeling that someone was watching you from the corners. It gave her the creeps just to explore it. But Leonor dared not to object when she saw her mother so enthusiastic about the change. She was a thoughtful child. It was mother's job, she made her living at it. And as soon as she saw the house they were in now, her mother had fallen in love with it. It was the first night they slept there. In other ways, her mother had left a small light bulb on to scare away all her fears. Every time they moved, she had trouble falling asleep. The first night, she barely slept. The creaking of the windows and the hardwood floors kept her awake. It took another 3 days for her to get used to the noises, and then she would fall asleep quickly. A week later, on a cold night, a loud bang startled her. It was the storm and the window had been blown wide open by the strong wind. A lamp was out. She tried to light it, but in vain. A noise frightened her and she ran to her mother's bedroom. On the way, she touched the wall with her outstretched hand to make sure she didn't eat anything. At that moment, her fingers touched a strand of hair and Leonor froze. A loud clap of thunder illuminated the room, and that's when she saw it. In front of her was a boy of the same age and almost the same height as her, pale, watching her with expressionless eyes, a scene that could mark anyone on the spot. Horrified, she ran down the hallway, screaming until she met her mother.
Did you see it too?
Leonor nodded, and the two of them, still in their pyjamas and without packing immediately, left the house, got into the car, and the mother drove off. They did not return until the next morning, still afraid of seeing the ghost. They checked every room, nothing seemed out of place. Everything was just as they had left it. The only strange thing was in Leonor's room. There, on her dressing table, mirror, someone had left a look of hair and a creepy message on the glass. Out. Months later, everything was back to normal, just a bad moment in her life. But when Leonor was in school, her teacher gave her and her classmates some old newspapers to create a school dynamic. They all had to cut out pictures and new articles to create their own newspaper. The little girl was stunned when she came across the photo of the same ghost child who lived in the center house, under a headline that made her hair stand on end. Minor found dead under strange circumstances. And you, have you already faced this kind of strange experiences? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching this video and see you next Friday for a new adventure. Bye bye!